Morning. We're live on YouTube. We're going to be live on Facebook here. That's Atlanta Falcons on SI and Scott Kennedy Sports. About 50, actually pushing 60,000 strong over there, which means we might be able to reach 5 or 6 of you this morning, the way Meta likes to play games with their audiences. And here we go. Welcome in, everybody. It is another soggy morning in the Southeast, but boy, we needed the rain, so it's good to see. But we've got Wednesday here, getting ready for Monday Night Football. So a little programming note, we will be back on Monday. I'm kind of planning on doing something during the game for the member. So if you're a member on YouTube, I'm planning on doing something during the game, whether it's halftime, whether it's a watch along for a little bit. I'm going to do something for members only. So if you're not a member, give it a shot. If you are a member, let's get together. Let's talk football if you're sitting at home watching the game at night. But we're going to go through some things today, including some of the injury reports, some of the things we've gleaned from the injury reports that we've listed, that we've learned. A couple of players that we're expecting back, possibly for the Bills clash. And then we're going to talk a little playoffs. We're going to talk a little playoffs. But first, my friend over here on this side, that's Nick. And Summit is a live dog. Mm-hmm. It's not just a stuffed animal. That is a live dog. There we go.
And the cat. Cat's joining too.
This cat was blending in a little bit.
Yeah,
we got the whole family out here.
The gang's here. Yep, we're doing okay. Apologize for the mess and everything, but really hard to unpack a house when you are working and applying for jobs, and the other partner's starting at the new facility, and you have a toddler. So luckily, I did get one of the rooms baby-proofed because it had been like, okay, Nick, take the kid outside for the next 3 hours, like that, which is like, okay. We're in a very safe, nice area, which is great. Like there's a lot of parks and stuff, but like still hard to do. So we're getting there.
Yeah. Get in the car and drive to Boulder and back.
Yeah, right. Just get in the car. Yeah. So luckily we are getting things together slowly but surely. Kitchen's almost functional by now. I'm getting tired of the Costco like that. They have this. Do you have a Costco? Scott, are you a Costco guy?
Yeah, Costco and Sam's.
They have, at least they had it in Seattle and they have it here too. This like chicken breast burrito bowl that is like super high in protein and fiber and low calorie. So I've been like living off of those guys. They're good. Like add a little Cholula, good. But I'm ready for the functioning kitchen again. And Carrie says, don't apologize, Nick. You have a lot on your plate. Got a job interview today. So wish me luck. I gotta find my razor, Scott, because right now I'm a little bit scary looking. Yeah, no, it's a, Carrie says, not a Costco guy. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat the $1.50 hot dog and pop. And now they've switched to Coke as well. So pop. God bless them.
You got to remember, the Iowan comes out in them every once in a while.
Oh, pop. Yeah. Pop.
What the hell's pop?
Yep. No, that's.
Remember, I was born in Ohio, so I hear them say pap.
Pap.
You guys, you want some pap? What? Some what? See, down here in Atlanta, the home of Coca-Cola, everything was Cokes.
Everything's Coke.
So who's bringing the Cokes? It might be Sprite, it might be Dr. Pepper, but it's Cokes.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense.
And by God, don't order Pepsi. Pepsi. The only way Pepsi got into people's families was by buying Kentucky Fried Chicken and like Taco Bell, getting into fast food restaurants to sell Pepsis.
Yeah, I will say the wild cherry's a little Pepsi, but
I went soft drinks.
Coke all the way.
I went soft drinks because people would come. I worked in a liquor store and people would come in and ask for soda. Where are your sodas? And I'd say, the club soda's over here. The soft drinks are over here.
Mm.
You couldn't guess. You'd mess up. No, the club soda. Oh, crap. Club soda's here. No, like Cokes and stuff. Well, we didn't say that. But we want to say hello to some folks. John Harrell's in here, one of our good members in here. He's got that bird next to his name over there. You get that by becoming a member. He says, good morning, Scott and Nick and the Falcons family. That's all y'all. We could use another rotational piece on the defensive line. Side note, a week away from a big racing event in South Georgia. Sweet. He's got that Mustang looking and sounding good. Another rotational piece. So the news this week is of the players that were designated for return off injured reserve. Taquan Graham is the only one whose window has started. Now, we talked about this before, but if you're new, it's confusing. I still really don't understand the designation difference between what Troy Anderson is with the PUP reserve and the injured reserve designated for return. They both have to miss at least 4 games. They both get a practice window, and they both are eligible to be activated. I don't quite get the difference. But after these 4 games, players designated to return were eligible to return. And you get a 21-day evaluation period before you have to make another roster move. So TQ is back on the field with the team. And I think of the players designated for return, Nick, that was probably the one that we expected the most. It was a little bit of a surprise, snuck up on a little bit, that he was IR'd to start the season. And yes, he is a very good interior line rotational piece.
Yeah, I mean, you can never have enough quality bodies along the defensive front. The good teams, unless you have a first ballot Hall of Fame player like Myles Garrett, then you want to have waves. Those tend to be the teams that are the best when their first and second units are interchangeable. And Taquan Graham is a very good second string rotational piece for this team. Good 5th round pick, good draft and developed by the Falcons. And having him back will be big. The Falcons defense has been a revelation so far this season. Again, small sample size. That one game against the Vikings is, putting the thumb on the scale a bit, and it'll normalize over time. But right now, I think, Scott, according to DVOA, the Falcons have the number 1 defense in all of football. They do, which is crazy. Number 1 against the pass, number 12 against the run. So adding some more quality bodies, fresh coming up here, can only be good. And we've always been big fans of Taquan Graham. You're going to have snaps when you're the second string defensive line.
Yeah, he was on. I think he was on a really, really good path. And injuries have kind of limited him to just being a rotational guy. Because remember when he was a rookie, he was forced into a starting role. And poor Ade Ogundeji, he was forced into a starting role. Who was the guard that was the worst guard in football from Michigan, who played 14 games in college? Jalen Mayfield.
Yep.
He was forced into a starting role. And it's like, listen, those guys weren't good enough. It's not necessarily their fault. Now, I'm still pissed that they were at the Senior Bowl, drafted 5 guys from the Senior Bowl, and took Jalen Mayfield blindly over Spencer Brown. But hey, we'll let bygones be bygones. That was not a good pick. Ogundeji was who he was. He was a fourth round edge guy. Those guys you're hoping to get anything out of those guys. And then TQ has been a really, really good player for a 5th round pick. And he was on his way to becoming, I think, a plus starter in this league before injuries have slowed him down. We'll come back to some of this. I want to keep saying hello to some folks. Looks like we've got one reaction, one heart from Chris Walker, naturally, the OG over there on Facebook. So give us a like over there on Facebook and YouTube. See if we can't reach some more of those meta folks that are sleeping. James Obleton says, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Austin Freeze is here. He says, hopefully the defense can contain Josh Allen and offense finds a rhythm. This is a winnable game at home. Now, the perception on this, Nick, is the big bad Buffalo Bills. Have you seen their schedule that took them to 4-1? Have you really? Because I haven't really paid attention to it. I'm just thinking, the big bad Buffalo Bills. And I look at their schedule. I'm like, all right, well, who have they played to have this awful run defense that is giving up 150 yards per game? Healthy Baltimore Ravens to open the season. Okay, 40 points there. Jets, Dolphins, Saints, and Patriots.
And
is
the Saints,
it safe to say the Patriots are the best team that they've played so far?
Oh, easily.
I mean, probably a healthy Baltimore. The first week, Baltimore Ravens, but the next 4 games, the Falcons are better than all of those teams.
Yeah, without a doubt. I do think that it is unfortunate you have the Bills coming off of a loss to the Patriots, how they did. They'll be a little bit, re-energized. But yeah, I don't think. Yeah, yep. They just can't drop 2. Good teams don't really drop 2 in a row. But they are right now, and it's not their fault. Like, right, you can only play who's put in front of you. This isn't like college football where you have some teams ducking non-conference Power 4 opponents in their non-con. It's just what's laid out in front of you. But yeah, right now, I think we don't really know if there is actually a true superpower team in the NFL this season. There's a lot of parity available, and I think that makes it really fun. It's wide open. Obviously, there's a lot of really bad teams.
I know there's some really awful teams in the NFL right now. Just awful. I mean, I'd love relegation. God, promotion and relegation is so awesome in other leagues where you don't get rewarded for losing. We reward these guys for losing, and then we wonder why they tank. Oh my God, he tanked. We have to find him. He admitted to tanking. Well, that was the only thing, is he just admitted to it. They're all freaking tanking. Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. It's at the end. I mean, I think what year was it? 2021, the Eagles did it and admitted to it as well. And they moved up from like the 10th pick to the 6th pick, which cha-ching, like that's a lot of value.
Yeah,
Greg
especially
Enos.
up there, it's an exponential curve. So the higher you are to the top, the steeper the drop off is per player. So 10 to 6 is a big deal. 24 to 20 might not be as big a deal. 48 to 44 is definitely not a big deal, but that 10 to 6 can be a very big deal
massive.
in the NFL draft. Greg, Ennis, thank you for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Got that bird next to your name. Want to give you a shout out for supporting the channel, supporting the show. It means a lot to us. So thank you very much. Want to say some more hellos, and I want to come back to the injuries because we've got more to talk about there. Rusty, he's coming. He's going to just change the subject on us. He says, can anyone else see Matt Ryan being in a Rich McKay role with the Falcons down the road, except with more football decision-making ability, just the way Arthur Blank talks about Matt Ryan? Maybe, Matt Ryan probably can go a while. He's good on the mic, and not have to work nearly as hard. It is hard to get those guys to come out from being pundits. The only guy I've seen do it for a while that came out of it and it blew up was John Gruden. He was making $10 million a year and not having to work all that hard compared to how you need to do when you're working for a professional franchise. Matt's good. Matt's really good over at CBS. So he may stay that way. Would he be in a decision-making role with the Falcons? Maybe. Where I don't see him is what Rich McKay is doing now. He's basically just a liaison with the league and on the rules committee. That's his role now. I know everybody wants to make everything bad about Rich McKay and the boogeyman, but he's marginalized with the Atlanta Falcons since Raheem Morris was hired.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know where Matt Ryan is in life right now. Maybe, the less hours and demand with having a family or being around for stuff like that. Now, granted, he does have to travel for these, but it's a little bit more in and out. So
he
I
still has the young kids, the cubes,
Yeah,
the ice cubes.
Yep, I don't know exactly where he's at with a lot. I'm not that tuned in on anybody's personal life in the league, but we got Sam coming in here. Says good morning, Scott and Nick and the Falcons podcast. Good to see you, Sam. Appreciate you coming in. I also see Sam Klontz the second, of course. Morning all. We didn't really get into it on Monday, but May was impressive. We got to worry about him in a few weeks. I mean, Scott, I think you remember the shows. I was right there banging the drum that I thought May was the same caliber quarterback as Caleb Williams. I had it a lot of times 1A and 1B. And we were talking about like the last decade. I'm like, if it was like almost any other draft, I think May would be the number one going home. I was a bigger fan of him than Jaden Daniels. I was kind of worried about Jaden's, what's the word? Just
frame, build, slightness.
Yes. Yeah. And also he was 3 years older than May. But May reminded me a lot of Big Ben. And right now now granted, you want to talk about an easy schedule as well, Scott. The Patriots have had an unbelievably easy schedule for their offense. But May has a huge arm. We talk about guys who are the tractor versus the trailer for offenses. Like you watch Brock Purdy play for the 49ers and everything's really schemed up well. He's a trailer, right? He operates it really well and it's a point and shoot kind of thing. May is the tractor. He is the engine that's driving that engine on that offense. And he is a playmaker and good athlete, huge arm. You're going to get a little bit of turnovers with him because he is looking to create. But I appreciate I guess we'll just call it the balls that he plays with as well. You're not going to get those pass interferences or plays down the field if you're not trying stuff now and then. So yeah, he is great. I know that a lot of big talking heads in the NFL media are talking about like, if you could take any young quarterback in the last 5 drafts right now, who would you take? And a lot of them are saying, I would take Drake May. I'm still pump the brakes because, you have some good quarterbacks there. I want to still see what the sample looks like. But yeah, May looks like the real deal. And I think we've talked about it a bit, Scott, like there's real parity, a real polarization in the AFC right now compared to the NFC where there's a lot more parity. But my God, the quarterback talent in the AFC is unfreaking believable. I mean, you have some in the NFC. We'll see what happens with Penix. Jaden Daniels last season was unbelievable. Hurts is good. I'm not as big on like Hurts, no doubt top 10 guy. Mayfield, what a renaissance. Darnold, our guy. Darnold there, Scott killing it. But the young quarterbacks and just the quarterback talent in the AFC is unbelievable. This is really unbelievable.
It's one of those where you better have other good teams because your quarterbacks are going to cancel each other out. You better have you got to build around them a little bit. Robbie Red, I've got to play this. I tried to do it once on here before. I'm probably going to get flagged by YouTube and Facebook for this. But I told y'all with Mr. Kennedy was a former WWE wrestler. And his entrance, I turned it into walk-up music for my son. I'm going to play that here real quick just for the hell of it. I think.
Now batting, number 4,
Mr. Kennedy!
Here comes the ready or not.
So a little POD with a little Mr. Kennedy walk up. It's a little over the top for every time, but when he's a senior in high school, I'm going to make sure that gets played at least once. And I need to get him into his 4. He's been wearing 27 because he's been playing. He's just a freshman and then a sophomore. I got to get him into his 4. I still call him 4 when he's batting. He knows I'm talking to him.
27 is a good number, though. Scott Rowland, one of my favorite all-time players.
McGriff, one of my favorite players. He was one of my – the Crime Dog was one of my favorite players even before he was – the swing. There's something about it, the way he'd lock in and then finish with that big helicopter. Yeah. I just loved it in the way he carried himself. He was just stoic, and then he was just a badass. And then when the Braves traded for him, I was like, in heaven. He was Crime Dog was one of my favorites. So good morning to from Michael over on Facebook. Austin says good morning to Dantes Master. Good to see you, Master. We said Michael. Terry is here with us. Let me see, Larry. What it do? And Terry's in a couple times. They're talking Costco versus Sam's. Like, I don't know about that. That's I like them both, but Costco was like they had a deal with a credit card. Like you could only use one specific credit card. I think it was like Visa. You had to use a Visa. I'm like, I have a American Express and a MasterCard. Where can you not spend money with those? So I was like, I couldn't go to Costco. I had to grab one of my wife's credit cards.
But good to see you, Larry. We got Tony also becoming a member here after this one. Says, good morning. Big key to victory. Limit Cook to 70 yards or less. Play good coverage on Kincaid. Maintain your rush lanes. Defense needs to know you got to stop Josh twice per down. All fantastic points. Every single one of them is great. I'm hoping Cook has a good game because my big fantasy league, he's on my team. But that's just me pulling for me. Kincaid's also been one of the better pass catching tight ends in football. So we're going to find out about the linebackers and safeties a bit in coverage in this one.
Nichols, Billy Bowman could be big in this, at least jamming him at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
Keeping him in front of you.
The Bills do have a tell, Scott. I did want to get into this just a little bit about the tight ends. So they drafted one of my favorite tight ends in the last class. If you recall, Jackson Hawes, if that name means anything to you, he's kind of he's stout, but he was probably the best blocking tight end in the class last year. And you know how I am with blocking tight ends. I want to have those guys. But he is a massive tell right now. I think it's something like when he's not on the field, they pass it 80% of the time. And when he is on the field, they run it 75% of the time. So obviously they know that's a tendency as well that's been out there. So maybe they'll switch it up a bit, but telling kind of showing your hand before the snap, if it's going to be a run or pass, is a very helpful. And they've still been pretty good overall. They still have a great offensive line and run game. But having Jackson Hawes be a tell can be quite helpful. You just got to be careful because sometimes those tells, you're showing that, and then it's a play action, max protect and a deep shot. So we'll keep an eye on it. And thank you, Tony, so much for coming in and becoming a member.
Yeah, very cool, Tony. Thanks a bunch. You get that little bird. It shows up differently on our screen. It shows up like some sort of coin, but it is a bird on YouTube. I did change those to the Falcons logo, so hopefully I don't get dinged for that too. But it is a Falcons logo for that on those. So thank you. Let's get back into the injuries real quick, and then we'll get back into the chat. As far as the injuries we're talking about was AJ Terrell. Y'all were here with me the Monday after he went out with a hamstring. I said that's 4 weeks and 4 to 6 weeks, and hopefully he only misses 2 games because of the bye. He can actually rest his hamstring for 28 full days before he would need to play again. And only missed 2 games. That looks like that's the path that he's on. And we'll see if that's what happens. Hamstrings are like voodoo. There's just no good way. It's like sprained ankles, broken bones. You're like, okay, 6 weeks, you'll be back out there. You can set them, but hamstrings, they're just dodgy, man. I don't know. They scare me more than, oh, he's got a high ankle sprain. Okay, 4 weeks. We know when he's back. Hamstrings, that can linger. It could be a week. depending on the severity, you're looking at least 4 to 6, and then it can linger for the rest of the season, sometimes the rest of your career. So we're hoping for the best for AJ, but they're thinking that they're talking like he's planning on being back, Nick, and that's a big deal. He's their best corner by far.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And luckily for this matchup specifically, the Bills aren't overly explosive at the wide receiver position. They've really built it more out of heavy personnel, run game, and offensive line with Josh Allen being Josh Allen. But it's not necessarily, one-on-one ISO matchups down the field. Like a lot of the big plays are coming from being schemed up or as we had Tony talk about earlier, defending 2 plays, it's the breakdown. And at that point, wide receivers don't have to be exceptionally good route runners or that explosive down the field. If you have your quarterback, extending the play 10 seconds and then finding an open spot. So it is going to be a interesting game. Also, Scott, I know that's something we got really frustrated with last season. The Falcons' incompetence, is that the word I'm looking for? Impotency, as far as like how soft they were in their coverages and playing like such bend, dope, and break.
Impotency. They played limp noodle defense.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, they did.
Not great. But this year, even though I don't have their blitz rates exactly in front of me or their pressure rates exactly in front of me. But through the first 5 weeks, so total sample, 4 games for the Falcons, they're third right now in defensive explosive play rate. So even though they are becoming a bit more aggressive with how they are getting after the quarterback, so far this season, they are third in explosive play rate. They're 24th in explosive rush rate. So that's something we got to worry about with this Bills team. And it's something we've talked about the whole season. They're just personnel wise. I don't know how the run defense is, but
some of that's playing with a lead too, which is nice.
Yes.
Some of it has been not given, but given. Like the runs that the Washington had. They went down the field pretty easily, running the ball a lot. And it's like, well, that was after they went up 2 scores with 5 minutes left, and I thought they got a little too soft too soon. But when they've needed to bow up, they can. Now let's be clear about this: the 4 teams they've played, Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, they held them to about 100 under last year's offense, but that was week 1. Shaking the rust off, willing to say, okay, everything's not going to be perfect there, but they did hold them to 250 yards. Week 2, J.J. McCarthy has played 1 quarter of good football in his career. Third week was Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. They're no offensive juggernaut. And then Marcus Mariota without Terry McLaurin. I want to say Terry McLaughlin. Terry McLaurin, that's not exactly the offense that they had last year either. So that said, we saw this same situation happen in 2023, and the Falcons put Will Levis in the Hall of Fame. The Falcons let Josh Dobbs come in and run all over him after he gets off the MARTA bus in the first quarter and starts drawing plays in the rubber pellets. So you got to take care of business, and they did. But Josh Allen's going to be the best quarterback they've faced. Baker Mayfield's really good. Allen's better. Mm-hmm. That said, Nick, do the wide receivers, is this one of the worst sets of wide receivers the Falcons will face? If I go Buccaneers, I'll take the Buccaneers all day.
Oh, yeah.
Minnesota Vikings, come on, man. Yeah. That one's easy. Carolina Panthers, I don't know who they have really at wide receiver anymore.
Tedero McMillan, who's having a good year. Okay.
And then, you get to a wide receiver at Buffalo Bills, and I'm like, who are these effing guys? So, and I want to bring out my Major League movie quotes.
Yeah. No, without it. I mean, Dalton Kincaid essentially is a wide receiver with how he's utilized because he's not a very good blocker. They have Dawson Knox and Jackson Hawes as well, but they've built it more out of the tight ends and the running backs and the offensive line, which is one of the better offensive lines in football. But you're talking about their top guys being Keon Coleman, who good contested catch guy, like in the red zone, he can do some pretty good stuff, but he is not a very good route runner. He's not overly twitched up. You have Khalil Shakir, who's like a really good dirty work wide receiver. Like every team needs a Khalil Shakir, but you can't build the ship out of Khalil Shakir.
I need one. I don't need 3. I need one of those guys. Kind of like a short corner. I can get away with 1.
Yep. And then you have Joshua Palmer, who also is another dirty work kind of guy. So again, they're built to run the football and be very physical and heavy. And they are like good for Buffalo, right? Like the actual city of Buffalo in the cold weather in the in the
They're
AFC
an old school
East.
outdoor NFL team. Northern, about as northern as you can get before you hit Toronto, you hit Niagara Falls.
Yeah, they're built for AFC North smash mouth, even though they're AFC East, but like Patriots, Bills, Ravens, Browns, Steelers, that's kind of their build that they have right now, other than their back seven. But offensively, they're built that way. So really it's going to come down to, can the defensive front, grab their nuts enough? Can you get run stuffs? Because they can get explosives, but also they've been really efficient in the down-to-down run game as well. Their success rate on rush this season is 5th in the NFL, and they are 8th in EPA per rush. So really we're going to find out a lot about this Falcons team, and I think the run defense specifically, because they have probably one of the top 5 offensive tackle duos in football, and they are going to make you play heavy on defense, which a lot of teams do not want to do.
The difference in the Bucs game at the beginning of the season, we can get into all these kind of things, but the key for me, the macro key for that game was Baker Mayfield, 5 rushes, 5 first downs. Mm-hmm. That was the key for this game. Josh Allen does that better than Baker Mayfield. I mean, he is a Tim Tebow Florida Gators weapon with the ball in his hands, and stop him, beat them. Another thing I wanted to get into, and then I want to come back to a couple of questions I've seen as far as the injuries go. This one kind of snuck up on us. Now, some of y'all may have seen this. I don't remember that I saw it until this week. Talking about the guys, because I even wrote about the possibility of the players coming in. Is it Storm Norton, TQ, and Troy Anderson, who's on the PUP list, but again, he's eligible to be activated. The fourth guy that we talked about a lot was Braylon Trice. Now, I have been adamant that he doesn't really have a spot in this defense. Watch what they do, not what they say. What they did was draft 2 first-round players in his position. He's not going to play above them. He's not going to play above Leonard Floyd. Arnold Ebiketie is probably not going to play above Arnold Ebiketie too. So where's he going to play? I think the timeline for Braylon Trice is 2026 when Arnold Ebiketie is a free agent after this year. Leonard Floyd is a free agent after this season. That said, looking at the roster, and I'm looking at it right now on the Falcon side of things, on the media side of things, he's not designated to return. Mm-mm. So it says as far as on injured reserve, Braylon Trice is sitting right there next to Caleb McGarry. Braylon Trice is done for the season. He ain't coming back. He's not eligible to come back. So the timeline that I've said is most likely now looks like a sure thing if he can get healthy, period. He's got to get healthy and get out there. I think the Falcons want him to come in and be a backup, a rotational guy to replace one of the two of the free agents. But that kind of snuck by us a little bit. We hadn't really talked about that because I keep seeing people talking about, man, I can't wait to see Braylon Trice and what he can do. Well, he ain't going to do much. He doesn't have a spot. He's 5th on this rotation at best. Well, now he's not going to do anything at all. He's out for the season with Caleb McGarry. Let's see what he can do in 2026 when he's going to be counted on to be a rotational player.
Yeah. Again, we talked about it before the show, Scott. The only thing I could think of, obviously injuries can happen, but maybe given what you've seen from Walker and Pierce stepping up here, as well as Floyd, you could trade Ebiketie last year, the contract. There's teams that are always looking for edge rushers. So you trade him, you create a spot, and then you bring up Trice as your 4th guy. But obviously with the designation they did, they said redshirt season. We have Ebiketie leaving anyway. We'll have you back at camp next year. You'll be competing for a roster spot. There's no guarantees given how much time you've missed, sunk cost fallacy and all of that. But yeah, it is a bummer for him, obviously. And that's football sometimes, I guess, right? Like that can happen and guys' careers can be over like that. So it's one reason, Scott, just to kind of hammer home one of our biases, never fault the players from taking as much money as they can when it's presented to them because it can be gone in a blink.
Yeah, it's too dangerous a game. I don't fault a player for taking care of themselves professionally. Do things the right way. There's a difference between how Kirk Cousins handled things and how Marcus Mariota handled things. They both. I have no problem both of them looking out for themselves. But because no one's going to look out for them, not in this league. But no, and I'm hoping Braylon Trice takes the next 10 months to get fully healthy and then he becomes a rotational player because he brings a different skill set to the edge position at 275 pounds than anybody they have. It's very different. He's almost a hybrid and edge, but I do think in this case he is agile enough to play a stand-up edge in a run-heavy formation, where I never got that feeling with Zach Harrison. Watching Zach Harrison, it's like, okay, I watched one game, one practice, one rep of him with his in a 2-point stance at the edge. I'm like, no. He needs to put his hand down in those rubber pellets and get to work. And he's having a fantastic season this year inside. Terry, want to say thank you for becoming a YouTube member, supporting the show, keeping these lights on, keeping this forehead nice and shiny. And with his new bird emoji, his indicator on his YouTube chat, he says, I'm actually awake early enough to enjoy the show live. Appreciate you, gentlemen. We appreciate you. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. It's that simple. We probably would have, cried in our coffee and gone home. Nobody loves us. I don't like it anymore. Let's say, and Rusty's saying, can we just stop holding out hope for Troy Anderson? Rusty, I don't know that there's a whole lot of people out there saying, man, I can't wait till Troy gets back. Man, think how good this defense is going to be when Troy Anderson gets back. I don't see a whole lot of that. He's Santa Claus at this point. If he shows up, great. But I am not counting on him in this defense. And again, neither were the Atlanta Falcons. That's why they signed Divine Diablo.
Yep.
Because they couldn't count on Troy Anderson. I love the way Terry Fontenot handled this draft. Yes, we'd love it if DeMarco is really good. Yes, we'd love it if Braylon Trice is really good, but we need to make sure. We need edge rushers. We need safeties. We need linebackers. We need to get the sun that's finally coming in on my neck here. I might hop up and shut this window in here just a second. Talking about, nobody likes us. The dog just doesn't care.
No, he's bored.
He's like, you guys are putting me to sleep. Get that dog some coffee.
I don't know. I have another show after this, Scott. I don't think I could run him outside for the bathroom if we give him some coffee. Carrie coming in. I think Carrie just got back from a tropical vacation I saw. So God bless you. That's awesome. She says, not worried about Troy when Divine Diablo has been an amazing signing. He's been great so far this season. Yeah, you can find, it's obviously better if you have a superstar linebacker out there, but linebacker is a lot like running back, is a lot like tight end, is a lot like safety. You can find guys off the street that have been kind of, solid players on bad defenses, and then you plug them into your infrastructure. It's like, oh, wow, boom, look, who's this guy? That's great. He's been great so far this season, a very stabilizing force, and he is going to have his work cut out for him this week against a Bills team that wants to mash you up front.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see more straight 3-4s out there, and if it's as far as getting bigger, we'll see more 3 down linemen with all 4 linebackers out there, 5 men up front. I think we're going to see more of that. Not worried about Troy. What was my last point on this? Oh, I saw someone's saying, why is Nate Landman not an Atlanta Falcon anymore? Well, he was a free agent. And did you watch him? The last couple of years, he was not good. He wasn't good enough to run in space. And everybody said, oh, it's coverage. It's coverage. It's not coverage. I'm not worried about my linebackers in coverage. That's just a bonus. It's my lateral ability. He can't get sideline to sideline. He's okay going straight ahead. He's tough.
Box.
But he couldn't get sideline to sideline. And he signed like a $1.2 million deal with like $50,000 guaranteed. That was his market. Yeah. That meant he was a long shot to even make a team. Good for him. I hope he gets $10 million coming out of this season. But there was no question that Nate Landman needed upgraded on this defense. And Divine Diablo is that guy. He is a huge upgrade.
I did have one more big key statistic just going over this game, Scott, that I did want to get into. But first, Terry Murray comes in, $1.99. He says, Caden Ellis and Diablo have been amazing. They have a lot of that is thanks to the reinforcements up front as well. But, it takes a good front seven. It's a revelation. I know Scott's probably pulling his hair out a little less watching the defensive front this season compared to last season. I don't think there's anything more frustrating than having a terrible defensive line and the other team just takes away your will.
The thing is those guys can play. I've said it 100 times, Nick, that every single player was worse in 24 than they were in 23. What's that tell you? Did they all get worse? Did Justin Simmons all of a sudden forget how to play? Did Matt Judon, was he bad? Was Grady, Onyemata? They were all, every single one of them worse. They'd stand up and play patty cake. They'd stand up, hold their blockers, and everybody would look around saying, let's see if we can keep people in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
You're from Ohio, Scott. You know about lake effect snow. That was lake effect defense, unfortunately.
I not from Ohio. I'm from Georgia.
Okay.
But I was born in Ohio, and yes, I have actually made fun of Santa Monica surfers when I've water skied bigger swells on Lake Erie.
Yeah.
going back and visiting family, and I see these guys bobbing up and down in their little wetsuits at Santa Monica on these 2-foot waves. I'm like, that's a calm day on one of the Great Lakes. What are you doing out here, man?
Yeah,
and Terry, yes, thanks again for double dipping. He says Diablo, they have been amazing. Caden Ellis he's just a baller. Diablo, we haven't really gotten to know him as much. We just see him, I don't know if it's the camera that finds him or what, but Ellis is always out there after a play with this huge smile on his face. And he's fun to watch. And Trenton wants to follow up. He said, yep, 0, that's Diablo, is great. He's a huge upgrade for this team. And Nick, Scott, Garrett, great work. I'm glad you're enjoying Garrett's shows. Garrett is good. Garrett's been a great addition to the All Falcons team that we've put together. Garrett has really been good. Playoffs.
I did have a stat there, Scott, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this Falcons team so far this season, I've kind of complained about it a little bit, just being a little bit too. When you have a Ferrari, a car that you spent like drive the car, and you have 2 cars even with Algier and Bijan Robinson, and just how the offensive line is built. Penix, still a young quarterback trying to find his groove. I know some of it is probably Penix's, or maybe it's not Penix, but the offensive calls not really getting under center enough to unlock. It's a little bit harder to get momentum in the under center run game, or the shotgun run game versus the under center, unless your quarterback is part of the design as a power rusher. But I hope this is a game, especially with the bye week you've had here. I'd love to see a little bit more under center play. And this is one that I want to run. Now, the Falcons have not been necessarily explosive this season as a rushing offense. Have them here. They are ranked 7th. Well, they're actually okay. 7th. I had it backwards. So they're 7th in explosive rush rate. The Bills are horrific at giving up runs, and specifically explosive runs. So they are ranked. We have it here. Rushing EPA this season, they are the 4th worst team in the NFL. Teams are averaging nearly they're averaging 0.06 points per play on a rush, and the Bills are the 31st ranked explosive rush rate team in football this season. So they are getting gashed. You can get some big plays on the ground. And what's the best way to truly neutralize a fantastic offense on the other side of the ball, Scott? Don't let them have the ball. Control the football. So this is one where, again, we all want to see Penix become this like top 3 ascended superstar. I have Drake London on my bigger fantasy team. I'd love to see him get 50 targets a game. But this is when I want to see them control the possession, run the football, and take advantage of a Bills team that likes to play a lot of shell coverages, lighter boxes, force them to be heavier. Yeah, I know that Kerry was talking about Charlie Warner earlier. Maybe this is your guys' game, Scott, with Charlie Warner getting more involved. But that's the big advantage in this game. If the Falcons can prod that one a bit, the run game advantage they should have personnel-wise, I think that's the key to winning this game. You have to really exploit that and hammer it home and take advantage of it.
The over-under on this one's 50.5, but the way both teams like to run the ball, doesn't it seem like it might be a limited possession type of game?
Yeah.
I mean, they've been some big scores that the Bills have had. I mean, we were talking 41-40, 30-10, that's 40 points. Dolphins was 31-21, that's 52. Saints was 31-19, that's 50, and then New England was 20-23, that's 43. But no offense, I mean, Baltimore's not Baltimore this year.
Mm-mm.
Who's got a better defense of those teams than the Falcons right now? And frankly, who's got a better offense right now than the Falcons? The Falcons, on paper, when they play to their capability, and that's the thing, when we start talking about this, the Falcons can make you look so stupid when you're talking about this type of stuff because they're capable of going out there and Carolina Panthers this game. When the Falcons play well, or even just play to their ability, they can be one of the best teams in the NFL. They can be. But we also know they're capable of going out there, and pun intended on this, I guess, and going out there and laying an egg. How bad is the Buffalo Bills rush defense? Because this is what I wanted to say, Nick. And then I want you to answer that question. Give us some numbers on that. Because the Falcons want to rush the ball. And when you said, I know we all want Michael Penix to become the superstar, frankly, what Atlanta Falcons want is a dub. They want to win. And if you're winning, the quarterback numbers don't matter. The quarterback's going to get all the accolades anyway. You can Troy Aikman this thing. You can Tom Brady this thing. Those were great quarterbacks, but they weren't really the focal point of their team other than the fact that they were playing the quarterback position. Those teams were defense, running game, big plays, with that. Falcons want dubs. It doesn't matter if it's Michael Penix, Bijan Robinson.
For them, it was like the superstar quarterback break glass in case of emergency. Let's manage the game through the things, and then, we have to play keep up. Okay, we're going nuclear on this one. So I don't want to use like a Pokemon reference or anything on you there, Scott. I know that always goes over your head. But this is one. It should be a run game. Again, we talked about the 31st ranked explosive rush rate for the Bills. They are 4th worst EPA per rush and 5-game sample size. So I don't want to use DVOA too much yet because it's really dependent on who you've played. But they have the 30th ranked rush defense, according to FTN Fantasy, formerly, what was the website before that? They got bought out. But anyway, FTN Fantasy, they use DVOA, and they have the 3rd worst rush DVOA this season. So really, we'll see if they commit to the box, if they commit to the run. But they've been dreadful at stopping the run this season. So that should be the game for this Falcons team. If you don't come out rushing the ball effectively, other than them committing 9 guys to the box, I would be concerned about the design, especially with having the bye week to work on some stuff and figure out where the weak points are. I would be somewhat concerned about Robinson and what the identity of this offense is.
Couple things. I see John Harrell talking about Caden Ellis. He is a free agent, unrestricted free agent after this season. I don't know that I realized that, and I'm a little surprised we haven't heard more. Maybe I'll take that. I've got a platform. I'll write about that because usually when you're done with guaranteed money, guys want new contracts. They want an extension. Even if it's just to you're paying me $8 million this year, but it's non-guaranteed. That means I'm on a week-to-week deal. You can cut me and you don't owe me anything. Even if it's just to sign a 1-year extension, turn that $8 million into guaranteed money in the form of a signing bonus, then it actually lowers your cap, and then you don't have to worry about it for the next year. You can just guarantee that money. We didn't hear any of that. So I am going to, like I said, I've got a platform. We hit about 1 million Falcons fans every month. We're going to talk about that at the time. It's time to think about an extension there with Caden Ellis. Now he is he's 30 years old. He's in his 30-year-old season. He'll be 31 next year. Okay. I'm good with the 2-year deal. Make sure he's signed through 26 and 27. I'm okay with that.
Given his play and the fact that he's a pressure player as well, I'm expecting a pretty big contract for him, Scott. We saw kind of a linebacker bump last off season, where you had Zach Bond make $17 million a year, Nick Bolton $15 million.
I'm hoping the rest of the league looks at PFF, the defensive rankings for the Atlanta Falcons, to offer contracts because they're just getting killed. They think Caden Ellis is like the 50th best inside linebacker in the NFL. It's just ridiculous this year. The score, like I said, they're doing okay as far as the ranking of the players, how they played in that individual game, but then the numerical grade is supposed to carry over across to be comparable to the rest of the league. It ain't. You got to put like 10 more points on every Atlanta Falcon because whoever's grading the Falcons is so much harsher. Yeah. I had one other thing I want to talk about. Oh, there was someone talking about Foye. August 09, I think it was. He said they let Foye go also, Foye Oluokun, and he's one of the best backers. They didn't really let him go. That was, I think, going into 2022 when the Falcons had to slice like $80 million off of their in Saints territory. They had to find $80 million just to be able to sign their draft picks. They couldn't afford Foye. Foye got a huge contract from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they didn't let him go. They couldn't keep him. They couldn't afford to keep him. They were freaking broke. And Foye got a market-leading deal from the Jaguars, and good for him. Good for Foye.
Yeah, and he's been solid for them over in Jacksonville. He's second fiddle to Devin Lloyd, who, if you remember, Scott, I was a huge fan of. I thought I was going to take an L on that draft pick because he was really dreadful his first 3 years, and this year he's in the conversation of Defensive Player of the Year. So we got Michael saying it's going to be a
2-year deal, I believe.
I think so as well.
Yeah, I think he's on at least it may be a 3-year with 2 guaranteed. Diablo. Where's Divine?
But I'm looking at Caden, Scott, and I'm expecting 15 million per year for him, given what the market is now. Maybe you get ahead of it and you sign him earlier, you offer him more guaranteed, and it can come out to 12, 13 if you do it soon. But if he hits the open market, especially with how teams are wanting to utilize what a lot of the best defenses are doing with their creepers, sim pressures, bringing different bodies, dropping different edge guys, Ellis is going to have a market. Without a doubt. So I would expect 15 million to be around where he's asking.
Well, Diablo is the Falcons do have the option. Y'all know how I talk about contracts. I'll call it a 2-year deal with 1 year guaranteed, basically. So Diablo has a 2-year deal. 1 year was guaranteed. So you're financially tied to him for 1 year, but you do have the club option. The problem is that club option is very unfriendly to players, and they don't like playing on it because it's non-guaranteed money. They've already gone through their guaranteed money now again, but they can do the same thing. His cap number jumps from 5 to 8 next year, or they save 5 by not re-signing him. But I agree. They can keep both. But if Caden does leave and he gets that kind of money and you don't sign a free agent equivalent, you can at least get you can finally play the comp pick game on him. But Ellis seems to be pretty damn happy. If you can get somewhat competitive and get flexible with some of your other contracts, I think you can it's not like trying to bring back 2 Drake Londons. 15 is still fairly cheap on a $300 million salary cap. It's money, but I'm getting to the point, Nick, where I do want the premium contracts to be going to premium positions. I think that is one of the problems with the Falcons have had, and we're getting there. We've got edge rushers, Drake and wide receiver, and then Penix, then you got your quarterback. Instead of all your money's tied up in a non-premium position like safety, Chris Lindstrom guard, inside linebackers, running backs, and then you're having to go cheap in the premium positions, the more important positions, and then you wonder why your team isn't quite as competitive, even though you're spending more money than anybody else in the NFL.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. So we'll see what happens. We do got Trent, and I do have to wrap up here pretty soon, Scott. I got a little bit of a meringued for being late in the last Broncos show, especially coming off the win.
And we got out early. We got out early on Monday.
I think I had to take care of the kid on some stuff, and I also need more coffee. I guess I got a little bit in there, but it's cold. But we got Terry Clark.
See, mine looks properly seasoned in here. If I can do this without dumping it on my keyboard.
Yeah.
Mine's about empty. I'm about down to the sludge. Terry Clark on this. What are you hearing about Carson Beck? I think he's a day 3 undrafted free agent type of talent.
He's playing good this season. If you remember,
playing good, but so did Glenn Dorsey and Gino Torretta in Miami.
Right now, I think he's probably like a 4th round pick. You could maybe see him in the 3rd round as well. I'm going to be honest, given the move and everything, I have not been as deep in the draft world this season. So far, that'll change here, November, December for sure. But Beck, probably not the guy. Right now, if we're on quarterback watch, I think there are 4 that we're keeping an eye on, and 2 play this week. The chat was talking about it. Right now, you got Mendoza at Indiana, who played at Cal last season, and he's a little bit more of your Jared Goff type, but he can sling it, man, anywhere on the field. Good quarterback. You have Dante Moore at Oregon, who right now, I think if I was a betting man where the odds are at, I might sprinkle a little bit on Dante Moore going 1st overall because he's young and he's got the tools. You got Sellers at South Carolina, who is one of the best scramblers, strongest athletes I think I maybe have ever seen at quarterback, but he's still learning the position. So maybe teams are going to be scared because of the Anthony Richardson stuff. But as far as an athlete, he is unbelievable. And then also you got Mater Mateer at Oklahoma, who transferred from Washington State, is a little bit small, but he's a twitched up athlete and the ball explodes out of his hand. Like his motion is so tight and quick. And I just can't believe how much velocity he gets. He's injured right now though, but teams are quarterback crazy, right?
Yeah,
there's always like a round premium extra on it. So those are the 4 I'm keeping an eye on for a quarterback right now.
I was just happy that, for NIL, where a guy like Beck, who I don't really see as an NFL quarterback, can stay and make a really good living since he's making everybody else millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So I want that money to go back to the players whose lives are on the line. Those guys walk funny when they're 40 if they've played college football. It's just such a huge wear and tear, and there's so much money being generated that I do want to go back to the players. I have for 40 years. So on that, I want to hit Trenton real quick. Nick, if you got to say goodbye to everybody, looks like someone's about ready to go out, and I'll finish this up here.
Yeah, no problem. Good to see everybody. Appreciate you coming in, hanging out with us this morning. I think he hears food being made downstairs. So thanks for flashing everybody there, Summit. Thank you. Great. Good job. But appreciate everyone, and good luck this week. Huge win. The Falcons have a chance to kind of do what the Broncos did this last week and beat an opponent that everybody has on a pedestal and then make the league be like, hold up, maybe we have something here. So big game. I do hope that it's a big run game. They take advantage of the Bills' lack of rush defense and got a chance. I'm weary playing Josh Allen coming off of a loss, the MVP, and he has a chance to go, as we like to call it, nuclear. But the Falcons defense have been playing good football. We're gonna find out a lot about this team in the one game. Not to make out too much about one game, but this is a big one for this Falcons team, Falcons defense, and where they are as a team. You win this one, I think playoffs are bust. If you lose this one, we're probably thinking we're meandering middle.
Yeah, this one's not the end of the world, but it is a big one. Nick, get out of here. I'm going to finish up a couple questions in here, and then we'll get going. And we will see you on Monday, Nick, before the game. So we do have another podcast before the game. Thanks, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Appreciate you guys.
And then let's see. I want to hit Trenton here real quick. We'll say hello, say goodbye to a couple folks, and we'll get out of here. Trenton says, and thanks for being a member and the super chat, double dipping on that. He says the trend is Zach is predictable. Believe we come out flat because we run the same plan, and Buffalo is prepared for 12 personnel choice routes. Here's the thing, as far as what they're talking about is if their run defense is bad in this game, then there shouldn't be much of we can tell you what's coming. We can be predictable. I'm going to run it at you. Stop them. I'm going to run Bijan at you, and then you're going to get Tyler. Stop them. And if they do, and if they have to load it up, then you've got to adjust. And a couple deep shots. I want to see a very similar game plan to what they had against the Commanders. Run, 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 stretch. Run, 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 stretch. Play action. Run, run, run. Play action. The Falcons didn't run the ball great against the Commanders, but they had some effective runs, and they stuck to it. I think the only average was like under 4 yards per carry, but they stuck to it, and they made them. I'm forcing you to stop the run. Okay, well, then you're going to be vulnerable in other places. And then with this one is, again, limit Josh Allen's extending his ability of designed runs, whatever. But 3rd and 7s where he scrambles for first downs, those are just backbreakers. We saw it against the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. As far as 12 personnel goes, we'll see. Again, y'all know how I feel about calling Kyle Pitts a tight end. And he actually, to be fair, he has lined up at tight end quite a lot. So it has actually been a true personnel. It's just when he's out there, it doesn't mean that they're going to be lining up in 2 tights and running the ball the whole time. He's in the slot. He's out wide. Drake had another 2 weeks to get healthy. And then Michael Lewitzki was asking about Darnell Mooney. Right now, Mooney is trending towards playing, just like AJ. He came out of the game 2 weeks to rest. The bye week came at a good time as far as some key players needing some time off. There's never a bad time for a bye week, honestly, when it comes to getting players healthy on that. So thank you, Trenton. Chris talking about Beck, he's saying his locker room presence isn't really desirable. He lost the locker room his last year at Georgia. I'd be very cautious about drafting him before the 5th round. I just don't see the tools. I could be 100% wrong, but the games I've watched him play, I'm like, that just doesn't strike me as an NFL guy. So we'll see on that one. Carrie saying goodbye. Hope you have a great day too. Need the win. A couple of programming notes. I'm guesting tonight on a Buffalo Bills podcast at 9:00. As soon as we go, I'll ask if I can bring in my community, and I'll link my Facebook group if they let me do that. Let me see who that. Someone asked me, and he has a pretty decent following. Let me see which one it is. Ugh, I have to change this. So you might be able to follow him. If I go to messages, it's Greg Cover 1. I don't know the name of the podcast, but that's his name. Greg Cover 1, Capologist, Bills Mafia, Linktree, Cover Sports, General Boy. That's not much of a help. Anyway, keep an eye on this. Why I like you guys subscribing so you don't miss anything. But I will be doing a guest pod at 9:00 tonight on with the Buffalo Bills. I've been with Rico and the Bills fanatics, and they're great people. And I'll probably say what I'll tell you. I'll give you a little preview of it. Is yes, the Bills are favored for a reason. The Bills are a little concerned about how Josh Allen is playing. Their schedule has been atrocious. Their schedule's been really weak. And yes, I do believe, other than a healthy Baltimore Ravens, we don't know how healthy they were then either. This is the best team that the Bills will have faced. I think they're better than the Patriots. When they're playing well, they're capable of getting beat 30-0 by the Panthers. I know. But this is the best team that the Bills are going to face, and they have to do it on the road against a team that's coming off a bye week. It should be a damn good game. Terry coming in again. Thank you, Terry. He says, we have a lot of primetime games. That's a good size that the NFL believes in us. Also, thanks again for the Falcons shirt and signing it. Glad I could do that. I honestly, I don't remember who all I sent them out to. So I'm glad you got yours. I'm the one person, because Michael sends me some stuff from the islands, as Island Mike down in Puerto Rico. I know I sent one to Michael, but we did the Angry Run shirts. And John, I never heard from John to send him his coffee, so we might have to just re-raffle it. Thanks for being a member, brother, but you got to email me. I want to send you your coffee on that. But yes, thank you, Carrie. Would love to watch your show tonight on the Bills podcast. I'll you follow me on X. I'll retweeter it. If I can't go live on that, so that y'all can come in and say hello. And we're planning on going live on YouTube. And last time, usually when I do these, I say, hey, is it cool if I bring in my audience? And I can simulcast to my YouTube channel. So that's kind of the plan for tonight. Otherwise, members, I promise you, members only videos, they're coming. They're not like at the forefront of my mind yet. They're not part of my habit. When stuff happens, I just need to come up here and I want to just get y'all involved in the community. That will happen. Monday, we will be here Monday. Monday night, I'm planning on going live. It'll probably be just me, but going live either at halftime or towards the end of the game is just kind of a watch along, doing that on Monday. And then Tuesday morning for our reaction to the show, we will be there on Tuesday morning. So that is what is coming up. And Terry says, snap face it. Yeah, or tickgram it, or whatever we call it. So appreciate y'all being here. I've had a blast. Sun's coming out. Looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day here in the Southeast. It is my daughter's last softball game of her freshman year at Johns Creek, an ascending program in the Alpharetta area. So we'll be out there this evening. We'll see you on Monday, I guess. You'll come find us. I'll be in the comments. You can find me on X and all those type of places. So we'll continue the conversation. If you need anything, hit me up. I'm easy to find on one of the socials. Thanks for being here, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of your week.